The first thing Commander Rafe noticed was the silence. Not the usual silence of a spacecraft gliding through the edge of a gravity well. This was sharp, unnatural, like the whole ship was holding its breath. He'd been in deep space for long enough to know when something was off, and every fiber in his military-honed body was telling him something was very wrong. The call had come through just 15 minutes ago. Distress beacon. Civilian transport ship. One lifeform detected onboard, no response to hails. The ship's name *Arisen Bloom*, was vaguely familiar, maybe something from a diplomatic cargo registry. Rafe had been the closest vessel in range. Protocol said check it out. His gut said *trouble star. He docked with the *Bloom*, stepping through the airlock, blaster on his hip, eyes scanning every shadow. No sign of life. No sound, no footsteps, just the soft humming of emergency lights flickering across the curved metallic hallway. Until a hiss, followed by a thump. He rounded a corner and saw a figure struggling at the far end of the corridor. Her skin shimmered violet under the emergency glow, her body sleek, her posture tense. She was trying to tug something off, some kind of exosuit, half melted, half sealed against her chest like a second skin. Her fingers clawed at the seams, frustrated, panicked. Then she saw him. Don't come closer, she barked in perfect Galactic standard. Her voice cracked, more scared than aggressive. Rafe stopped mid-step. You're in distress. I'm not here to hurt you. It's stuck, she whispered. It won't come off, and it's not just a suit. It's a containment shell. And it's bonding to me. That got his attention. Rafe stepped closer, hands raised to show he wasn't a threat. Name? Myla. Baroness class hybrid. Diplomatic envoy. They left me. They left me here to die. Her breathing was shallow. Sweat, or something more silvery, trickled down her cheek. He stepped to her side carefully, eyes scanning the blackened material that clung to her torso and shoulders. It looked like tech he'd seen in a weapons lab years ago, adaptive alloy. It was designed to respond to neural inputs, meant for combat, not diplomats. Myla, if that suits what I think it is, it's going to fuse completely in less than an hour. It'll override your nervous system. I know that, she shouted, then groaned, her knees buckling. Rafe caught her before she hit the deck. They told me it was ceremonial. A gift. A symbol of unity, she gasped, tears forming. But it's a death sentence. They activated it mid-journey. Rafe cursed under his breath. Someone had set her up. He gently guided her toward the medical bay on his ship. The emergency lights overhead flickered, as if the Arisen Bloom herself was warning them, hurry. Inside the med bay, he got a better look. The alloy had started to spread fine lines across her collarbones, delicate as veins but pulsing faintly with energy. He didn't have tools to detach it, not without hurting her. The only way to stop it is to reverse the bonding sequence, he muttered. But that's coded. Who gave you this suit? Myla hesitated. I don't know their names. Just that they smiled too much. Spoke too slowly. And didn't blink. Rafe grunted. That screamed covert ops. He powered up his scanner, ignoring the warning blinking red across the display. Too much interference. This alloy's jamming everything. Then take it off, she said, her voice suddenly quiet. Rafe looked up. She was staring at him now, eyes wide, lips trembling, not with fear but resignation. Like someone choosing to trust, even when they shouldn't. I don't care how. Just, please. Take it off. He knew what she was really asking. Not just to save her. Not just to solve a puzzle. She was asking him to believe her. And he did. He reached for his knife. Not a weapon, just a finely honed tool, used for everything from ration packs to emergency surgery. He slid it under the seam near her shoulder. The metal sparked. Sorry, he muttered. She winced, but said nothing. He sliced downward, and the alloy flared with a soft hum as if alive, resisting. Then it cracked. A hiss escaped Myla's lips, but she didn't scream. Almost there, he whispered. He didn't look up. Didn't give himself time to second guess. As the final layer peeled away, something fell from inside the shell. A small, silver disc, blinking red. Rafe grabbed it instantly, tossing it into a containment field. Myla collapsed against him, breathing hard. That, she said, her voice ragged, was the detonator. He stared at the blinking field, his mind racing. Then they didn't want you to suffer. They wanted you to explode. She nodded faintly. Rafe looked into her eyes, purple, flecked with starlight, and burning with something else now. Not fear. Fire. And he knew, this wasn't over. Not by a long shot. It had just begun. Rafe didn't sleep that night. Back aboard his ship, with the *Arisen Bloom * sealed and set to drift in silent quarantine, he sat in the dim glow of his command console. Myla lay resting in the med bay, her vitals stable, but the bonding residue was still embedded in her skin, traces of nanotech he didn't yet understand. He kept replaying the moment in his head. A ceremonial suit. A hidden detonator. A diplomat turned target. Someone wanted her erased and made damn sure no evidence would be left behind. That meant one thing: the attack was political. And political meant dangerous. He pulled up the most recent diplomatic logs. Myla had attended a summit on Velcor Prime, one of the newer annexed systems. Tense territory. Rumors of rebellion. And a known hotspot for covert bioweapon research. He muttered under his breath, tapping into the blacknet unofficial data shared among ex-military mercs like him. Half whispers, half code. But he found something. Project Silkskin. Experimental adaptive suits. Bio-bonded. Developed under Baron Tech Solar's watch. Rafe's eyes narrowed. Tech Solar's was a name you didn't forget. One of the architects of the occupation war. Known for smiling with his mouth but never his eyes. If he was behind this, Myla wasn't just in danger. So was anyone helping her. His comms console chirped. "She's awake," came the Ari's soft voice. He stood immediately and made his way to the med bay. Myla was sitting up, blanket wrapped around her shoulders, her skin still glowing faintly in the dim light. She looked exhausted but sharp. "I felt it," she said before he could speak. "When the detonator activated, I felt a mind in the metal. Not sentient, just obeying. But there was a signature. A trace of intent." Rafe sat across from her. "Tech Solar's?" She didn't answer right away. "He's not the only one," she said finally. "But yes. He authorized the ceremony. I was meant to stand before the assembly with that suit on. Then disappear." "Why?" Myla clenched her jaw. "Because I said no." "To what?" "To surrender." Her voice was ice. She stood slowly, still a bit unsteady. "The council wanted me to sign away Ralitha's independence. Make it part of the unified accord. I refused. They said it would be seen as rebellion. But I didn't think they'd kill me." Rafe nodded slowly. "Now they think you're dead." She gave a bitter laugh. "For now." Rafe walked to a side locker and pulled out a folded tactical garment. "You'll need something stronger than diplomacy." She took the suit with a nod, vanishing briefly behind the partition to change. When she stepped out, her presence had shifted. The vulnerability was still there, but under it, steel. "We can't go to Ralith," Rafe said. "It'll be the first place they watch." "Then we don't go to them," Myla replied. "We go to the ones who gave them the tech." Rafe looked up. "You know where it came from?" "I don't. But I know who does." They dropped out of hyperspace near the edge of the Vornak cloud, thick with electromagnetic storms and sensor-jamming particles. Perfect for hiding things. Deep within the murk lay a station called the Gutter. Unofficial. Unregistered. Unforgiving. A marketplace for secrets and sin. Myla followed Rafe down the docking bay ramp. Her posture was calm, but her eyes scanned everything. She didn't flinch at the shouts, the smell of burned ion, the slither of something reptilian coiled in shadow. She belonged here more than she wanted to admit. Inside the main bar, a rusted dome buzzing with drones and flickering holos, Rafe found who he was looking for. Krenz. A techno-savant. Exiled from the core systems for war crimes, now surviving by selling whispers. "You owe me," Rafe said, slapping a credit chip on the table. "Where did Tech Solars get the suit tech?" Kren's eyes, glassy, cybernetic, blinked twice. You're not supposed to know about that. Too late. Kren stared past Rafe, eyes falling on Myla. You were supposed to be dead. And yet here I stand, she said flatly. Talk. Kren sighed, leaning in. It wasn't Tech who made it. He bought it from the Threx Syndicate. They salvage ancient tech. And they've been digging near the Black Cradle. Rafe's stomach dropped. The Black Cradle wasn't just dangerous. It was cursed. A derelict alien warship, older than recorded time, orbiting a dead star. Every expedition ended in silence. They're replicating it. Myla asked. Krenz nodded. They don't even understand it. They just copy what they can. And sell it to monsters like Tech. Myla's jaw clenched. Coordinates, Rafe said. Krenz hesitated. There's more. Tech is planning a demonstration. He's bringing the prototype to Velcor. One more gift. A weapon bonded to a senator. A show of control. Myla's voice was razor-thin. When? 3 days. Rafe stood. Then we don't have much time. As they left the gutter, the weight of what they'd learned settled in. Myla had survived her execution. Now she had to stop the next one. The moment the ship exited hyperspace, alarms blared. Rafe's hands flew over the controls, stabilizing the drift. Myla leaned over his shoulder, eyes sharp. Outside the viewport, the Black Cradle loomed, an ancient, broken beast of a ship, large enough to blot out stars. It floated like a corpse in orbit around the collapsed star, its surface pitted and scarred by time and violence. This is where it came from, Myla whispered. The suit. The tech. The mind. The Threx Syndicate's mining station clung to the side of the derelict like a parasite, lights flickering across scaffolds and artificial docking arms. This was where the weapons were being harvested. Copied. Sold. And it reeked of death. Rafe tapped the comms. Mask our signature. We'll go in quiet. They suited up, not in armor, but with adaptive pressure suits lined with stealth tech. No insignias. No identifiers. Ghosts. They docked in silence. No alarms. No greeting. Just the cold press of silence waiting to be broken. Inside the station, shadows moved. They slipped through the access tunnels, avoiding the main corridors. Drones passed overhead, scanning lazily, unaware of the 2 intruders slipping past. Storage bay ahead, Rafe said. Radiation spike. That's where the prototypes are. Myla nodded, crouching beside him. Her body was tense, coiled, no longer a diplomat in chains, now a woman with a mission. They entered the storage bay. And froze. Rows of humanoid figures stood in suspension chambers. Each clad in a version of the suit that had nearly killed Myla. Sleeker. More refined. More lethal. And some of them were moving. They're active, Myla hissed. Synced. These aren't weapons, Rafe muttered. They're hosts. He stepped closer to one pod. The figure inside twitched, eyes flickering with a glow that didn't belong to any living thing. Something's inside them. Myla stared at the pod. Not something. Someone. A voice came through the comms, crackling, ancient, like static given shape. You wear our skin. You open our cage. Rafe spun. Who said that? No response. Only the soft hum of 1,000 minds barely sleeping. We have to destroy this, Myla said. Before it spreads. She moved to the console, fingers flying across the interface. Rafe started planting charges. Then. A hiss behind them. A figure stepped from the shadows. Threx markings on his uniform. Face pale and eyes glassy. A voice that didn't match his lips. You don't understand what you've found, the voice said through him. Myla raised her blaster. I understand enough. The man laughed, a cold, wet sound. We are Legion. We are memory. We are reclaiming what was taken. Rafe shot first. The man dropped, but didn't stay down. The suit on him pulsed, knit his wounds, tried to drag him back up. Myla lunged, slamming her boot into the containment seal. Sparks flew. The reanimated host writhed, then finally fell still. Now, Rafe shouted. They triggered the charges and ran. Explosions rocked the corridor as the storage bay imploded, the artificial gravity warping. Myla stumbled, Rafe catching her, dragging her toward the exit hatch. They dove into their ship seconds before the airlock sealed. The mining station vanished behind a wall of fire. They didn't speak until they were safely back in the black. Myla leaned back, breathing hard. "Those weren't just weapons," she said. "They were vessels. The suit wasn't just a cage, it was a key." Rafe stared at her. "You bonded with one. That's why you heard them." Myla nodded slowly. "They touched my mind. Briefly. Not enough to control. But enough to understand." Rafe stood. "Then Tech Solars doesn't just want power. He's playing with something older. Bigger. He thinks he can control it," she whispered. "But he's wrong." Rafe's jaw tightened. "We have to stop the demonstration." Myla looked out the viewport. "No. We have to expose it. If we just stop it, they'll try again. If we reveal what they're really doing, maybe the Accord won't follow him." Rafe glanced at the console. Velcor was less than a day's jump away. The final act was coming. And this time, they weren't running. Velcor shimmered like a blade in the void. Its capital spire pierced the clouds, surrounded by orbital rings and ceremonial fleets all gathered for the Unity demonstration. Politicians from every system wore smiles too wide, words too smooth. None of them knew they were standing on the edge of a catastrophe. Rafe's ship slipped through the chaos cloaked, invisible to the fleet sensors. Beside him, Myla adjusted the neural sync nodes attached to her temples. Her connection to the remnants of the bonded suit still lingered, now refined and stabilized, thanks to Rafe's makeshift neural inhibitor. Dangerous tech, but now turned to their advantage. Myla stared at the glowing citadel ahead. "We expose tech. In front of them all." Rafe nodded. "No violence. Just truth." They docked silently at an auxiliary port, just as the ceremony began. Holograms flared in the sky. Tech Solars stepped onto the grand platform, flanked by guards. At his side stood a senator bound in a gleaming version of the same adaptive suit Myla had barely survived. "Today," Tech announced, "we welcome a new era. One of peace, of obedience, of unity." His voice rang out across the spire, broadcast across systems. Rafe and Myla watched from behind a scaffolding ridge as the senator's suit shimmered and began to pulse. The bonding process had started. Rafe tapped the signal disruptor. "Now." Myla stepped forward into the open, removing her hood. Gasps rippled through the crowd. The woman they thought was dead alive. The suit she'd escaped visible on the senator beside Tech. "Stop the ceremony." Myla's voice boomed, amplified by the tower's relay. "They're not suits. They're gateways. You're binding people to an ancient force that will enslave every mind it touches." Tech's face paled. "Lies. This is treason." "No," Myla cut in. "This is survival." She lifted the signal disruptor. The image of the black cradle appeared in the sky. Video logs. Audio files. Proof of the voices, the possession, the reanimation. The crowd fell into stunned silence. The senator beside Tech dropped to his knees, convulsing until the bonding stopped cold. Myla's signal override had severed the connection. Guards moved. Weapons raised. But they never fired. Because in that moment, truth beat fear. A dozen voices in the audience stood. Ambassadors. Officers. Witnesses to Myla's supposed death. They backed her. One by one, others followed. Tech Solars tried to run. Rafe caught him at the platform's edge. "You tried to turn Unity into slavery," Rafe said coldly. "Now you answer for it." They didn't kill him. They didn't need to. He was taken into custody, and the broadcasts were replayed on every Accord channel across the galaxy. Weeks later, the Unity Council passed a new charter banning all adaptive tech derived from alien salvage. The Black Cradle was quarantined, permanently sealed by an interstellar coalition. For once, systems agreed, some knowledge wasn't worth the risk. Myla stood at the edge of a quiet cliff on Ralith, watching twin suns set over her homeworld. A soft breeze brushed her face. No guards. No spies. Just silence. Rafe approached, 2 mugs in hand. You ever think we'd make it here? She smiled faintly. No. But I never stopped trying. He handed her the drink. The galaxy knows now. They do, she said. Because we made them listen. They sat together as the sky turned purple and gold. No more running. No more suits. Just stars. Asterisk asterisk moral asterisk asterisk. Even in a galaxy that runs on power, sometimes the greatest weapon is truth. And the bravest act. Refusing to be silent when it matters most. Myla was supposed to be forgotten. Instead, she became the voice that changed everything.